Today we are diving into the world of e-commerce, specifically focusing on the power of integrated platforms for manufacturing and supply chains, and how specialized solutions are addressing the unique needs of sectors like perishables and cannabis.
So when a buyer is buying for their work or buying for themselves, their expectations are now the same. We're not in a place now where if you dial back 20 years, people's expectations were far different.
You shared a story about a business that, transformed its Black Friday sales processing with workflow automation. Please go ahead and walk us through the transformation and the impact that it had on their sales and operations.
And they came to us because of Black Friday, as you said, and they'd had a habit of hiring temp workers just for the sheer, again, grunt work of getting things physically out the door.
Hi there, entrepreneurs in manufacturing, supply chain, cannabis, and food and beverage. Are you looking for an e-commerce platform that truly understands your complex needs? Remember, the right digital infrastructure can remove friction and enable scalable growth. Hi, this is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast, where we explore the innovative technologies and strategies that are driving efficiency and growth for Canadian businesses. Today, we are diving into the world of e-commerce, specifically focusing on the power of integrated platforms for manufacturing and supply chains, and how specialized solutions are addressing the unique needs of sectors like perishables and cannabis. Now, recent trends highlight the increasing demand for streamlined digital infrastructure that can handle complex operations and regulatory requirements. Now, this discussion today will provide valuable insights for businesses looking to optimize their e commerce presence and scale effectively. Joining us today is Jason Agouris, CEO of iTristan Group, a forward-thinking technology think tank that builds and continually reinvents digital infrastructure for companies in fast-paced and tightly regulated industries. Let's begin the conversation. Firstly, Jason, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Very well. Really happy to be here. Thanks.
It's our pleasure. Now, Jason, iTristan Group focuses on building digital infrastructure for complex industries, right? Let's start the conversation by exploring the significance of these integrated platforms. In your view, Jason, why exactly is having an integrated e-commerce platform that connects manufacturing and the supply chain? Why is it so significant for businesses in today's time specifically, especially for those who don't have the luxury of, slowing down?
Probably the most easy to understand is that users' demands are the same whether they're B2C, they're consumers, or they're business owners. It's fundamentally no different.
Mm-hmm.
So when a buyer is buying for their work or buying for themselves, their expectations are now the same.
Right.
We're not in a place now where if you dial back 20 years, people's expectations were far different. They simply want what they want. And whether they're buying for their businesses in large quantities, or they're buying for themselves just a pair of shoes, they're expecting the same experience.
Of course, yeah.
But what a lot of people don't realize is that those same people also have jobs.
Right.
When they're in their jobs, they're expecting their jobs to work the same way.
Yeah.
So think of it in reverse. When they're doing their jobs, they're expecting if an order comes in, that order is integrated into the entire process that they work on. And for those people who have had these jobs where it doesn't work like that, there's a lot of burnout that happens.
Right.
So you have a human expectation that has leapfrogged a lot of industries. And now in perishables and cannabis in particular, we now have a maturing that's happened. For those who haven't been following the cannabis sector very much, when Canadian legalization took hold between 2015 and 2018, there was a lot of excited investment. That's what happens when you have a new
Right.
That excited investment has played out, and I don't know if you would call it a correction, but the the acceptance that the industry is going to be of a certain size is now played out. So some industry players have exited, some have slowed down, etc.
Right.
Point being, it's starting to mature a little bit.
Right.
When you get to that place, you have real competition and real maturity, and the margins are where they're going to be. And when you get that, you have to play the real game.
Right.
And the real game is real supply chain manufacturing practices, real awareness of your cost of production, and then coming back to my first point, real awareness of what it costs to get it to the door.
That makes perfect sense. And, having all those moving parts connected in one system, it must create, tremendous amount of agility and efficiency, right?
Exactly. And the players that have been working with ERP systems, especially for perishables in what you could call industrial agriculture.
Yeah.
Just think, somebody has to make your lettuce. They've been doing lettuce growing for a very, very long time.
Right.
Understanding how to do that has been available for a long time. What has not been a thing for the cannabis sector is that cannabis in some ways is like fine wine.
Right.
A lot of people see cannabis not like lettuce, but as a wine, and they expect the high quality. They expect the kind of
The premium
attention,
feel, yeah.
Yeah, the premium feel, and but that needs to be paired with industrial agriculture.
Right.
So the vintners know what I'm talking about. Lettuce growers maybe not so much, but it still ends up in the same place. When you have that level of expectation, you are needing a digital experience that is going to afford you the ability to choose. And this is where digital infrastructure paired with ERP and supply chain systems are now a unique offering, where the ERP platforms, and I should probably preface this for a lot of readers, ERP, enterprise resource planning, which is a bit of a large scale euphemism for saying how we put together cost and costing to make a thing happen.
Okay. Yes.
And so as our we've got an ERP partner in 365 Cannabis, and as they like to say, you need to know if you're selling something 1,000 times, what it takes to sell that thing all the way from the soil and the water and the seeds all the way up. So what we're doing with them is we're extending that ability, because ERP platforms are notoriously not e-commerce platforms.
Right.
We're extending that to say, if you do have flour, gummies,
right,
lettuce, whatever it is, not only are we making that product available to your business buyers or consumer buyers,
right,
whomever, but we're making it available in a way that is natural to the industry,
right,
and natural to the industry for compliance purposes. Because if it's not obvious, there's a lot of control at the government level with these things. And this goes for wine as well. There's control. So you're needing to be aware of one particular product, how it tested, all the THC levels, or in the case of wine, the alcohol levels, all these things have to be tracked.
Right.
And when the full supply chain to e-commerce passes that data along, you can know right down to the bottle, or to the flour, or to the gummy package, or whatever it is. You know that this item that was grown in this situation, that tested in this way,
of course,
that got released in this way, that's the one that is on the truck.
Right. And the person who is actually consuming it, it makes a whole lot of difference, right? Because that person is actually investing time in reading it before taking it in.
Exactly. And this goes, and you raise a good point, because the need to do this differs. Some people who might be recreationally just with gummies, they may not care quite so much. I have a package of gummies. Right. But you have other people talking about people who are very discerning.
Right.
No, I want this one
They're
that's
very
tested just
specific.
like this, the sativa, and they
Right.
need to know exactly what they're buying.
Right.
And the sellers, the manufacturers and the sellers, want to be able to present that opportunity for them to choose. And this is the concept that is the newest one that has not been
Yes.
available, called lot tracking.
Right.
So lot tracking, a lot of people actually know what lots are. They just don't realize they know what lots are. Lots are an instance of a product.
Okay.
So for example, most people buy milk in some way, and they go back the next week and they buy the same milk. They go back the next week and they buy the same milk. They are obviously buying milk that has been produced at a different time.
Right.
They are being produced in lots.
Right.
You can't have, it's not a pair of shoes. They can sit
Right.
on the shelf forever. In cannabis, it's the same way. In perishables, the same way. You make the product, and yes, the recipe for the product is going to be the same whether it's October or November or December.
Right.
But when you, because it's organic, it's never 100% the same. So each time, for compliance reasons, you have to test this.
No, of course, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes. The percentages and everything, it
Exactly.
varies. Yeah.
Exactly. So when the tests come back, that test has to follow your product all the way to your door.
Right.
And what we're doing is we're saying, let's track it all the way to the door, not just to the warehouse and then hope. And this is where the problems come in with compliance, is that a lot of businesses, because they haven't had the opportunity, they tend to try to track this through spreadsheets.
Right.
And you can't scale properly.
Of course not.
And when this falls apart, compliance falls apart, and the nice government comes to your door. And when they come to your door, they're not very understanding. When they find that there's a data discrepancy, and this is a use case that ended up in our laps.
Okay.
They'll just shut you down. And getting shut down this way, I think the average, I was looking this up, the average getting shut down costs all in all in the neighborhood of $9 million.
Wow.
To get back and running, because all these nice staff that you have,
Right.
they're getting paid. All those sales, you're not getting paid.
Right.
All those overtime, and so whether it's $9 million or less,
Right.
it's a lot of money to get back on your feet. And so what we're helping with is keeping that compliance tracking literally to the door.
That's, very interesting what you were doing, because a lot of companies, they are right now ignoring perishable and cannabis, right? But right now is the time when it's booming, and you guys are doing a great job at that. So kudos to you guys. Hi there, entrepreneurs in manufacturing, supply chain, cannabis, and food and beverage. Are you looking for an e-commerce platform that truly understands your complex needs? Remember, the right digital infrastructure can remove friction and enable scalable growth. Now let's get back to our conversation with Jason and explore the crucial aspects of compliance. If you were to list out, 2 or 3 unique challenges that these industries face online, and how exactly are you targeting those, 3 points, how would you describe that?
The one of the first ones is as I've been talking about is compliance.
Yeah.
So targeting that with lot tracking. The other one that I only touched on was delivery.
Right.
And this was not something we anticipated until we were already in, and the demand just came to us. You can't ship cannabis via traditional carriers.
Right.
They won't do it. So you have to have various forms of private delivery, and those private delivery agents, if you will, can use a platform that we integrate with, which is called Smart Routes.
Mhm.
And so in doing so, this is where again we know what you've ordered. Now it's on your truck.
Right.
And now we can literally track it via GPS, including all of those nice lot numbers
Of course.
that are going to. So the last bit of the solution that we ended up solving was the so-called last mile. and it's been far more popular than I had expected.
Right.
It was the industry asked, and
Right,
thankfully
yeah.
we could make that happen. So that was one. The other one is scale.
Right.
And this is another version of the challenges with spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets, but
Right.
I love spreadsheets for me. For
Not to grow or scale a business, right?
trying to grow and scale a business with, when you have an entire manufacturing operation of hundreds or maybe even thousands of SKUs, it's just not practical.
Right.
And so the key thing that with our platform, CellStack 365 Cannabis, is that once you've started, CellStack doesn't care how many products you have.
Right.
It just doesn't care. So manually, we did some research on this, and typically, without integration, manufacturers seem to top out at 100 to 200 products, absolute tops.
Right.
Sometimes even less, selling it digitally. They have more products.
Right.
They just can't make it happen.
Hmm.
It's too laborious.
Right.
So with CellStack, our users they're passing 400 or 500 products because they can.
It's a fast production to sales to delivery environment, right?
Yeah.
To ensure that real-time, robust and compliant ready reporting is there and taking place. That sounds like a critical feature for businesses, especially in highly regulated businesses and industries like these. Having that level of built-in compliance must provide significant peace of mind, and at the end of the day, that is what truly matters, right?
That's exactly it.
All right, it's time for a short break right here, and when we return, we'll dive deeper into automation's impact on business efficiency and how iTristan Group is supporting businesses in diverse industries. Stay tuned.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. You still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Welcome back, listeners. We're continuing our conversation with Jason as we explore the power of workflow automation and how it's transforming business operations. Let's jump right in. Now, Jason, automation can drive efficiency and growth, right? Let's look at how it impacts various business functions. You shared a story about a business that, transformed its Black Friday sales processing with workflow automation. Please go ahead and walk us through the transformation and the impact that it had on their sales and, operations.
This was, as always, a surprise that we expected in part. We did not expect this at this scale. And they came to us because of Black Friday, as you said.
Yeah.
And they'd had a habit of hiring temp workers just for the sheer, again, grunt work
Right.
of getting things physically out the door.
Yeah.
And they did it because it was necessary, but they also did it very begrudgingly. They really didn't like doing it. And getting through their Black Friday sales pretty much took them through most of December in order to get through the backlog.
Right.
So they said, look, can you help us get things out of the warehouse
Right.
and do things to help us optimize what we are doing to pick and pack? So we reviewed their wholesale and shipping processes, and basically automated a number of screens so that at least their pick and pack team were only picking products based on immediate availability.
Right.
And creating automated backlogs for items that had to be reviewed by a human further. So we basically streamed it. It was quite simple at the end of the day, where we were basically saying, you do this because it's automatically ready, and you don't do this because it's automatically not ready. They were done with, they didn't hire anybody for their Black Friday fulfillment.
Really?
And they just did their normal thing. They were done by December 10th.
Wow.
And they had increased their sales by 30%.
Amazing.
And they had their first $1 million hour.
Really?
We had given them their first $1 million day the previous year. And so they were happy about that. And then, but this time they had their first $1 million hour. And that one, so that's what I mean by the surprise, because we knew
this is too good to be true. Right?
It was. Yeah. We knew it was going to work. We didn't think it was going to work that well.
It sounds magical almost.
Almost. Thankfully, it was all very real, and it was strategic. It was just a better success than we had expected.
So how did you feel after that moment?
Oh, it was extremely...
Did you say, I told you so? Was it that moment? Or were you a little more humble about it?
I think we were pretty humble. I think our response was along the lines of, I think it started with something like, you're kidding. And then we looked at their numbers, and our team is always monitoring, especially in big times. They're monitoring, so we knew that there was a lot of heavy traffic, so that was to be expected.
Right.
But
so you were prepared for that.
We were prepared for success, but when they told us of the entire backstory, I think that we were a little blown away. So you're kidding, and maybe a few swear words came out, good ones, and we were. We were pretty gratified that they shared this with us, and that they trusted us to help them.
Definitely, and that is, a fantastic example of the tangible impact of effective digital transformation. Going from, weeks to days with increased sales and no extra labor is no joke and is incredible. Now, with that energy, the company, it supports a wide range of industries, right, including highly regulated sectors like food and beverage and cannabis across multiple regions. What do you think, Jason, are the key industries that, iTristan Group typically works with, and what is your geographical availability in terms of supporting businesses, in Canada, America, Europe, including sectors like cannabis and food and beverage?
So our focus at the moment, our growth area at the moment, is very much in perishables and cannabis.
Yeah.
The broader, if you step back a little bit higher, the broader workflow automation is still very much central to the theme, and to your other question, Canada, America, and Europe, we're definitely watching Europe because, compliance is being thought about there. The industry is still figuring out its feet, and they don't have any compliance-oriented software, so we want to be on the ground floor. So we're poking around in there. Meanwhile, in America, for those of you who don't know, unlike Canada, which is fully cannabis legal, America is a patchwork.
Yeah.
And so in that patchwork, the opportunities still kind of come out in bits and pieces. New York State just went recreationally legal a little while ago. So that's boom, a new market opened up. And so these things are going to sort of keep coming up. So overall, it really is, perishables, food and beverage, fancy food is
but right now, majority is from Canada, right?
The majority actually
Technically speaking,
the majority at the moment is America.
Oh, really?
And that has to do with the way that the industry works. Because our expectation was going to be the opposite.
So this is very interesting. I'd love to know more about how exactly does that happen?
It happens because our industry partner is Pan North America. They are American based, but they work with that throughout North America. And the businesses that were most ready to jump, for some of the reasons you just said a moment ago, which had to do with not hiring any more people, they can't find people, they needed the automation, and they were ready to jump. And those they happen to be American businesses. Without getting too much into it, how Canadian cannabis sales are done at the wholesale level and reported are very tightly controlled within the province.
Okay, got it.
It's a little. You have to go to the wholesale version of the Ontario cannabis
Right.
market, for example,
And get a
You have to go-
conversation with them.
you have to go directly to them. We are welcoming the opportunity to get in that conversation to say, look, if we can open up this market a bit, and we're not going to circumvent them, of course. We would just be in there to bring more innovation to the space.
And this industry is such a market that 2 or 3 or so many other co-players can coexist.
Exactly.
Right? There's not going to be competition.
Not at all. Not at all. There's lots of room,
Yeah.
and I do understand why the Canadian regulatory framework is this way. But I do think there is, a room for innovation that, frankly, I wouldn't expect the government to do. You do your regulatory monitoring,
Of course.
and the private sector can come in and do more innovation, on top of you.
It's great to know that your expertise spans over various key industries and geographies. Now, Jason, before we let you go and get to the last question, did you always want to become an entrepreneur, or is it something that happened along the way?
It happened a long time ago, and it started. I'm going to date myself somewhere along the way, where. I was asked when I had a job at a publishing company,
Okay.
and the internet was there, but fledgling.
Of course. Right. Yeah.
And they were trying to figure out a few things on how to get a website going and all these early things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was technical, and I was helping run servers and things. And they just came and they basically said, "Well, you're a server guy.
Right.
Make a website."
Yeah.
To which I knew nothing about. And they said, "Can you do that?" And I said, "Sure." And then I promptly ran off to figure out how to make a website.
Wow.
And started talking to people. And somewhere in all of that, I think where the light went off was fast forward several years, and the magazine publishing sector, they have an audit that happens to figure out your audience and whatnot.
Right.
And the publisher then came to me and with a big grin on his face, and he said, now I'm the director of the online at this point, and he said you've got us in the top 10, and I didn't know what he was talking about, and he plunks down the audit in front of me, and our digital presence
Right.
was in the top 10 of magazine
Oh
publications.
my God.
And I had
a
no
movie
idea.
should be made on this story.
I had no idea, and so this was a bit of a feather in my cap. And so at that point in time, then I think it is just kind of
It hit you, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm doing this.
That's very
And
nice.
so I left the server stuff behind. I leave that for other people, and I just tinker with it. And then I focus much more on the business building side of it.
That's a very interesting story. If we were to give you a time machine right now and say if you were to go 20 years down into the future, how exactly would you envision the acceptance of cannabis around the world increasing, and of course how exactly would it, because it is directly related to your business at the end of the day, right? So I'd love to understand your perspective on it. How do you see it?
I suppose if this is much more of a personal opinion than it is anything else.
Yeah.
My first take on it is looking at the Canadian landscape, which is next to Uruguay, the first national
Right.
legalization. And my question kind of starts with, well, we did it, and what happened? And in many ways, the answer is nothing. Nothing really happened. And I largely consider that a good thing. And I don't quote me entirely on the stats, but I did some research some time ago for an article, and I recall the numbers being something like this: the users, the net users of cannabis pre-legalization
Yeah.
to post-legalization did grow, but only by I think 2 or 3%.
Yes, people who were already doing it inside the doors, they just started doing it outside the doors,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
The second part, though, this is the cool one, is that of those people, 80% now work from the legal market.
Okay.
So there was originally some concern that they would stick with the black market, the illicit market,
Right.
and they don't. And I thought that's an interesting win.
Because they're getting more options, firstly, in the legal way.
Yeah.
And of course, they're not, it's just that inner feeling that you're not doing anything shady anymore, right? So I think it's more of a emotional mindset thing as well.
It is. It's there's a comfort level that you are working through a compliance vetted process.
Yeah.
The second part, this is the economic part, is that you are quite literally feeding the economy. You are putting money into the legit economy that, of course, is in part at least going into harm reduction processes, health services, and so forth.
Right.
There are still other non-cannabis drug problems that we
Right.
know of that we don't have to
Right.
get into, but at the very least, with cannabis being out of there, we are at least not trying to police this.
Of course.
So in that respect, to answer your real question, is how do I see this playing out worldwide? It's hard to see some countries going there. There are a lot of countries who are very traditional, and I don't have a problem with traditional, a cultural perspective. In Europe as well, there are some countries that you might think would be down with legalization, and they don't know what to do with it. And it's not because they're so tight-fisted about it. They just can't wrap their head around something
Right.
that has been there. So it's interesting, the conversations I've had with colleagues in Europe. In Asia, I can't really speak for Asia. It feels like it won't go anywhere.
No, that's going to be a hard pass
Yeah,
there.
it feels like it won't go anywhere.
No, yeah.
So it kind
So
of.
that's what
yeah.
my next question was, just this. So do you wanna, in future, do you wanna like start a bigger movement wherein you talk to everyone and spread this movement of changing and progressing towards this slowly, or are you satisfied with whatever's naturally happening and the natural traction that you're getting and just making your mark in that area?
Yeah, I can't see becoming a full-on, like, nearly political advocate.
Of course,
I can't see that being my place, if you will. I can see, of course, if the questions come up, like you're asking me, how do I feel about what's gone on in Canada, and how it's played out.
Yeah, because
Of course.
as an entrepreneur, I'm sure these thoughts do come in your mind, right?
Being a political advocate.
Not the political advocate, just an advocate.
Oh, just an advocate.
Just an advocate.
It does come up. I will freely share these conversations with our European colleagues,
Right.
and mostly because Europe is I'm not going to say close, but they're thinking about it. They're looking at Canada and they're thinking about it. So I share these conversations and to see how they feel about it. But beyond that, I can't see. I think the innovations that we are making happen here still do apply in broader industries. So if the perishables side
Right.
of CellStack can have a larger market, it makes more sense to play into perishables, especially in the SME space,
Right.
than trying to push a
Right.
cannabis agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. And firstly, thank you so much for giving that candid response. I really appreciate it. Before we let you go, what, Jason, are the key takeaways that you'd like our listeners to remember about this entire discussion today? And what piece of final advice you'd like to leave with, maybe small or medium entrepreneurs who are listening to you and they have a business of perishable goods? What would you say to them?
Good question. I would say to the entrepreneurs with perishable goods that there is a route. There is a route to scale. There's a route to speed and to globalization. Whether it's first selling to Ontario, then pan Canada, then pan North America.
Yeah.
So there is a route to doing that, and it exists right now, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel to do it. and scale being the key thing, because even Ontario alone, if you get going in Ontario, you're already probably going to be saturated. So for other entrepreneurs of perishable goods, I would say focus on your excellence. Also focus on the data. And this is something we didn't talk about. And what I mean by that is, with perishable goods, especially if you're in higher quality type of products, if we're talking about wine, for example, your money-making opportunities may come from places that you don't realize.
Right. The hidden gems is
the hidden gems.
Yeah.
And a lot of cultivators or curators of high quality products often don't want to hear this, and I understand it, because your prize is that gem. But sometimes where you're going to truly make your money is going to be on the slightly more commoditized version of it.
Right.
And it's a message that a lot of high-end producers don't want to hear. It is the unfortunate reality of capitalism. Yeah, it's a bit of truth. So be at peace with it and use it for your benefit, because you can use this specialty to make your name.
Right.
But use your scale to make your money to fuel that.
That is wonderful advice and wonderful key takeaways. Thank you so much, Jason, for being on this podcast and sharing your valuable expertise with us. I really enjoyed this discussion, so thank you for being a part of it.
As did I. Thank you so much for inviting me.
That was an insightful conversation with Jason Agouris, CEO of iTristan Group, on the power of integrated e-commerce platforms for complex industries, particularly in the cannabis and perishable goods sectors. iTristan Group's innovative solutions, including the recently launched CellStack 365 Cannabis ERP e-commerce edition, are helping businesses streamline their operations and achieve significant growth. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. We really appreciate your continued support. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more expert insights and resources that can help your business thrive. Also, don't forget to visit our website, CanadianSME.ca. And lastly, a very special thank you to our podcast partners, RBC, UPS, and Google, for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses in Canada. Until next time, keep innovating and striving for success, and we'll see you in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.